Stops. Just like that.
Just
yeah. Very.
And then you
very
get us three. Then you get us three. Yeah. Well, welcome to We Like to Piss Off ANX Gamecast show, formerly known as the Vagabond Nerds. We are brought to you today by Titan Comics, our favorite comics monger. He has thingamabobs aplenty, and also your favorite geeky accoutrement. Let us begin this wonderful show.
Does he have thingamajigs?
Gentlemen, thingamajigs. Yeah.
Okay. I've always wanted to.
Hold on. What's the whole line? Yeah, he's got thingamabobs. Yeah. Aplenty.
Really. I don't remember the entire line, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh well. Not important.
I love
what's worse is I had the whole line until I heard our song, and I'm like, yeah. Wait, what was the line? Damn it! Now I don't feel so bad for Joey.
Even our 2-3 fans, like our thing when we started, it popped to 1, and then they heard us talking 0.
And it went to 0.
Like, yeah, I get it. And
like,
to be fair, this show's not for y'all. It's just for us because we get bored sometimes, and we got to talk. We got to talk nerd stuff. You know, COVID put a limit on when we can see each other. If not, we'd be doing this at a bar.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm doing much better now.
So COVID versus the Vagabond Nerds. COVID is now 3-0. It's hit every single one of us.
Yeah, you can't have us COVID. Although my daughter now has mono, so.
Hey, that's not to poke fun or anything, because I don't want to do that to my goddaughter. But isn't mono the kissing disease?
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah.
Should you talk to her boyfriend? Perhaps, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and that was the thing was when at first we thought it was maybe some sort of weird form of strep because she didn't have a fever, but she clearly had like it was on her tonsils, and so even the doctor was like, "Well, this is weird. Let me test you for mono," and I'm like,
"I need to speak to you, Donna.
This
will not to be in your best interest."
Yeah,
you can. While it is the quote unquote kissing, kissing virus, you can get it from drinking after somebody else as well.
Yeah, I told her she has to stop licking people to say hello.
Yeah, but that's safe for everyone, honestly.
That's good advice. Period.
That's
just good advice. Just don't lick random people. I mean, I know it's fun. I mean, we all did it growing up, and Ray still does it, but
no, I don't. Not anymore. Not since COVID.
Not since COVID. Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I think it's hit the entire families now. My daughter was just this about 10 days ago or so was the last one to catch it. So, and she's waiting for taste and smell to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't lose the taste and the smell, but I would love to get rid of this congestion in my chest that I've had for the last 2 weeks.
So literally the last thing to go. I am now finally able to be okay to where it's not horrible.
Right.
So to that point, if we cough on the show, sorry.
Anyway, I don't have a mute button to do that. So, I mean, we may just
actually you do.
So. No, I do, but I'm not gonna touch it. So
see, that's perfectly fine. I see. Yeah, I was just checking out the excuse here.
And we need to talk about something very nice. Sean's little, goatee there, man. That's coming in nice, dude. That's nice and thick.
I like it. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it that bulbous.
What do you mean it's coming in? Like it's always here.
No,
it's never.
It's never.
It is particularly thick. Did you dye it, or is it a wig?
This thing looks. Did you add extensions? Where can I go get my extensions?
Yes, I got extensions. That's right.
I gotta go get them.
Ray,
I can't grow one. I'm jealous.
I know yours because yours doesn't connect to your lip. Yours only stays down here. You've got this little tiny soul patch that's almost there, but there's a barren wasteland, no man's land in between. So you can't connect it. You've got the under chin growth, not
this
the
is my
frontal.
My pubis hair growing here because that's
it's sort of
it's like the nut sack hair. Anyway.
All right.
I want to like yours.
So technically, actually, it's called axial hair, and it is actually the same thing.
To go on a you put a tire on this thing? Is that what you're telling me to do?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying
it's not drawn with a marker, Bruce. It's actually drawn with a Sharpie.
Not everyone can have a chin merkin, Ray.
It probably looks full because my hair up top is cut shorter. So I need to trim this a little bit.
You and Jason both. Y'all's hair looks. I told him when I saw him, I was like, man, you look neatly and nicely shorn today. I don't
He
think I've
does.
seen
He
that in a
looks
while.
very good. The moment we logged on, I looked over and I saw his face, and I was like, hey, he's looking good. So
Yeah, I touch him.
not as bushy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
there you
so
go.
much of that.
It's a new look. It's a new year.
It's a good job, sir. Good job.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
The Gnome King can't always keep the same look for every century. Sometimes you got to change it up every decade or so.
Well, otherwise, people will start to realize you've been around this long. That's why you got to change your appearance.
Well, that's why I have to move. I'm gonna have to move to a different country every 80 years.
Move every 4 years or so people don't realize you're not aging.
I wish it was 4 years.
It's more like 40. It's like 40 to 50 years because that's when people start to notice.
All right, only 18 more years to go.
Yeah.
18 more years to go.
What are we talking about today, guys?
I don't know. I'm kind of happy this way.
All right.
So far, it's been about, for whatever reason, my bulbous facial hair, which I don't understand.
Your luscious facial hair, sir. Luscious.
I don't. You know what? I have a question for the both of you, actually. So Moon Knight, right?
Yeah.
Peacemaker is awful. All right, Bruce, we'll get there.
First off, Bruce, I love
Hold on,
Peacemaker.
Shut up. All right, listen. Moon Knight, right? So the trailer dropped. It looks very interesting, but at the same time, I never read anything with Moon Knight in it. Ever. I saw him on covers of comics, but never did I read one where he was involved in anything. Can someone tell me who he is and what he does?
Jason?
That's a way more complicated question than you realize.
No, and I understand that because he's got some sort of demigod ties to, like the god of vengeance or whatever from Egypt.
Khonshu, yeah, it's
but
Khonshu.
So don't
the night, yeah.
Let's not make this a huge in-depth detail thing. You don't got to tell me his entire backstory, but
no, yeah, I'll make it real quick.
What does he do?
Yeah,
who is he?
Yeah, so it looks like they are taking liberties and they're taking aspects from a lot of his incarnations because they try to reboot Moon Knight every 10 years because he's just not. He's a great character that nobody seems to know how to do right by. So they've sort of done a lot, like the scene where we see like the costume wrapping itself around him. That is not anything out of the comics. It's brand new.
All right, hold on. Who is he, and what does he do? Can we start there?
Sean, let me do this really quick. This was Marvel's answer to Batman, except they gave him multiple personalities. You good?
Sort of, yeah. Okay, kind of. What
Mark
are his
Spector? So Mark Spector is who he is. That's his primary identity. Is Mark Spector. He is he's a mercenary. He gets powers from the night god Khonshu, the Egyptian god Khonshu.
All right.
Again, over the decades, he had multiple identities, sort of like how Batman would go out as the criminal, Matches Malone. Marvel did the same thing with.
You're still making it.
Well, it was in the cartoon. I thought he would have remembered. Anyway, so he has these other identities outside of Mark Spector, right? Where he goes out and he has multiple identities that he goes out and lives sort of in their lives to gather information on the underworld and stuff like that, right? Later on in the comics, they've said, no, those are all personalities. So he's a superhero with split personalities, one of them being, apparently from the way they're doing it in the Moon Knight.
Sean, the best way to explain this is the MCU is trying to add more heroes to it. So this is
I understand that. I mean, I figured as much. You know what I mean? And it looks cool. Don't get me wrong. I always thought it looked interesting. I was just trying to figure out, like, we still haven't covered what his powers are. No one's answered that question yet.
And that's the thing. It changes from who's writing the book and which personality it is. And so,
but I mean, can someone just say, does he fly? Does he just have strength? Does he shoot lasers out of his eyes?
It's just Batman.
It's just Batman.
Yeah.
It's just Batman. Okay.
So it's
Then
really
what's the point of this superhero? Why?
it's
Why is he
convoluted.
here?
I'll tell you what. When they first announced Moon Knight,
Mm-hmm.
I was very curious to see how they're going to do it. At this point, whatever version they give us, to me, that'll be the definitive version that we all know anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the MCU, if nothing else, has done a really good job at taking,
Unknown
some
characters
unknown
making
characters
something
and just
good
making
out of
something
it.
with them, right? And they usually tweak it.
Yeah, which I'm fine with. And I again, this isn't it. This whole thing sounds kind of negative, but it's not negative, right? For me, I think it looks interesting, and it's a series, right? This isn't a movie. These are going to be episodes, right?
Yeah, these are episodes. Yeah,
these are going to be episodes on Disney Plus. Okay,
yeah.
So he's a mercenary. I mean, or at least that's who Mark Spector is, I guess, is as a mercenary. Yeah. What was he? An old like a ex special forces or?
Again, depends on who was writing them.
Depends on who was writing them.
Yeah, usually he's ex special forces turned mercenary, gets betrayed by one of his buddies, nearly basically dies in an Egyptian temple. Becomes the Moon Knight to serve Khonshu.
Khonshu gives him a whole almost like a Ghost Rider-ish sort of thing. Like, I'll bring you back. You get my powers. We're gonna do this thing.
Right. But usually the comics, his powers are that of Batman, where he's just a buff guy who knows how to hurt people.
Interesting.
So, but it looks like this one is going to give him some other powers. Yeah.
And again, that's kind of the gift they get when someone writes Moon Knight, is there's no set thing. It's not like Spider-Man where you got to have some principles laid down, and he can do this, but never this. Well, with Moon Knight, it was like, who's writing him? Okay, well, I'm gonna do this. Sounds good, go. And that's kind of
he's basically reinvented every 10 years.
Honestly, I gotta say that I like that because it allows each writer to influence the character in their own way and put their own aspects into their writing. So it makes it very personal, and it changes from time to time, which keeps it fresh.
I don't think he started off with multiple personality disorder.
I
think that's what Jason was saying earlier. It came out, if I heard you right, Jason, later in the comics, they said, those are actually all his personalities.
Which was a great cover. We just don't know how to do this. Some people are writing it bad. Some people are writing it good.
That is a good one. Well, it reminds me of Jane from Doom, the Doom Patrol. Where she's got all those personalities in the underground, and they all have different powers and shit. So
it's not as the way they've done it wasn't as extreme as Crazy Jane, but I like where they're sort of heading in this direction. Again, he's one of those characters that's very hard to nail down, and I think what to Ray's point, they're going to sort of reinvent him with this series, and this is moving forward probably going to be the version that we're going to get. Like I said, we already know there's a radical departure because he's being wrapped in these. In the costume,
it's Spawn-esque with the way it kind of comes out from behind him and is just like enveloping him, mummy-like, like wrappings and stuff.
I was actually thinking Guyver, but same thing.
I was going to say
Guyver would be another perfect way to say it. Yeah.
If memory serves me correctly, the first couple of incarnations, it was not that mystic, magical thing. It was literally a costume he put on. This, I will say though, seeing the trailer though, very reminiscent of the Netflix shows to me. Had almost that dark tone, that dark feel.
I know what you mean. The Daredevil sort of back in the early when it first had come out. I know exactly.
Which I liked. This to me, I'm like, that's good. And Ethan Hawke, correct me if I'm wrong, he's playing Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
Ethan Hawke is playing Kevin Bacon. It's crazy because it really does look like Kevin Bacon.
I had to do a double take. I was like, who did they mimic him off of? Ethan Hawke normally doesn't look like Kevin Bacon, but
he doesn't. But this one he really does.
He doesn't normally look like Kevin
Bacon. You're right. I did the same thing. I had to watch it again. I'm like, I didn't know he was going to be in this. It's like, oh no, it's Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, I even thought I was like,
here's the thing: the villain, because the person he's playing, Ethan Hawke. I had to look him up because even I didn't know who he was.
Well, Kevin Bacon was in Footloose,
right?
He was in. Okay, well that's who he's playing.
Okay, so he's playing Kevin. Okay, well that gives me a lot more background. Yeah, so I didn't even know who the guy was. Like, It's like Caecilius from the first Doctor Strange movie. You're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, the heck is that? The
Again,
70s, like, you know,
The 70s.
taking unknown, unpopular characters and putting
Right.
their
yeah,
spin on them.
and
Right.
You know, if they could just fix the third act problem with like 50% of their
every
movies,
movie
maybe
they have,
75%, right? I think Marvel would be like, there would be no one that could come out and say anything. It's not to sit there and say that all other movies have that problem, but definitely a vast majority of them have that third act.
there's an
Hmm.
absolute third act problem that they have.
Yeah.
And you know what? In this, okay, I swear we're gonna get to Peacemaker, but here's the thing. I think it ties into something Ray and I were talking offline about, and it really showed up in. I finally watched Jonah Hex last night.
Why?
Where
I've
did this
never,
come from all of a
I've
sudden?
never seen it. And I've got
Okay.
HBO Max, and I'm like, oh, Jonah Hex. I remember that movie was a thing.
You know what? Hold on.
it.
Let
Actually,
me
funny,
act as
I
let me act as
love it.
Genesis.
Okay.
That's trash. Why would you watch trash, Jason?
Because it was.
Is.
It was there. I was laying. I had hurt my back, and I was laying on my back, and I'm like, you know what? I think I've watched almost all of the stuff that I wanted to watch on the DC stuff. Like, okay, by the way, Soul of the Dragon, the Batman one, where it's set in
No,
like the 60s
stay
or 70s,
focused.
was fun.
Stay focused.
Focus.
Anyway,
Focus.
So I'm watching Jonah Hex, and two things occur to me. And one, there's a good movie in there if they had just edited it differently. It really is.
So that's one.
So that's one of the two things that occur to you. Okay, what's the other?
The second one is what Ray and I were talking about this offline a while ago. All of these comic book movies, they have this push to make everything the fate of the world, right? Where it's the entire globe that's in danger. A lot of these characters would do better if it was the fate of their world, meaning their personal lives, right? Like Jonah Hex did not need to have the fate of the United States hanging in the balance. It needed to be him and the guy who killed his family. Shang-Chi, to Ray's point, didn't need to be oh no, the demons are going to come through and destroy the earth. It needed to be
should have just been him and his father. Yeah.
And imagine how strong.
Well, but isn't that also why that's why we like Winter Soldier so much? You know, it's
and Civil War to an extent,
and Civil War to an extent. Yeah, you're right, because it's less about this giant, unbelievable or unrelatable, if you will, master plan to destroy the fate of the world or to just destroy the world totally, and more about a personal struggle with another individual, something you can connect with.
This would be a really awesome segue, not to Peacemaker, sorry, Bruce, but to Eternals, as we do that in like 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So I'm excited about the Moon Knight thing. I know we're going to do Eternals real quick. Eternals, did we all see it? We've all seen it, right?
Yeah. I want to.
You still have it. You want to get to it
because I'm going to tell you my problem with this when we get to it.
Because I love that we're doing it 3 months late or 4 months late.
We are doing it 3 months late, but
that should tell you how many people really didn't care.
Yeah, most people didn't care about this movie.
No, it shows how much you didn't care, Ray. There's a difference.
I also didn't care really about this movie.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying, y'all don't say the people didn't care. The people cared, and then they didn't like the movie.
The people cared.
Didn't care.
The people cared. Jason, the man of the people, the voice of the people. Listen, I think it's a hard movie to connect with. It's a very hard movie to connect with. Yeah. I didn't find any connection to any of the characters. It's difficult to
really
do.
Quick, let's do spoiler free, because it looks like.
Oh yeah, I saw that. And I'm not going to spoil anything. Yeah, spoiler free. It was hard for me to connect to any of the characters, and I think it's very difficult to make, characters with godlike powers be relatable. You know what I mean? Thor's relatable because he's just, this happy-go-lucky, or he was this happy-go-lucky guy until his entire family dies and all of his world crumbles.
All of his people,
literally his world crumbles. He was a happy-go-lucky character, right? He just wanted to roust about and drink things and punch people in the face and get punched in turn. But with the characters in Eternals, it's like there's nothing there to really connect with. And how in the world are you going to do, this this big, I don't know, this big movie. What about Internals?
It's
that was a
how
better
Ant-Man
movie, I
killed
think.
Thanos. That's what that was
Yeah.
about.
Right. I don't know. That was my thought. Like I couldn't connect to this movie. I thought it was a waste of time, honestly. It just, I don't know.
Jason, I know you're probably gonna suckle at the teat here. So would you like me to go on this?
No,
Well,
let's
actually,
I want Jason to suckle, and then we can come back to your review. I want to hear what Jason says about it.
I partially enjoyed the movie. I really did, but my biggest takeaway was they needed to have been is if Marvel had introduced these characters earlier, right? Then so that we don't have to spend half or 2/3 of the movie introducing ourselves to these people, and we could have actually gotten to the story. It would have been a better movie. The movie suffers because it is too big of a story to tell in one movie. They needed to have been introduced. We needed to have sort of explored them and the concept behind them earlier, right? These are Jack Kirby characters. This is sort of the whole problem with the Jack Kirby character. They're so big. There's so much there that you either have to lean way into it or you need to do it in like 3 movies. Because there's just a lot of content, there's a lot of character building. And I guess one of the problems with this movie was it was trying to be a small, intimate, story with these people, and that's where the story does lie. Right? I agree with that, but we needed to have known who these people were, and sort of not necessarily the plot of this movie, but we need to know who they were, what they were doing, who the deviants were, and show and way before all of this. And this is the other thing, like they sort of made the deviants this other thing. Thanos is part deviant, right? In the comics, he's a deviant.
In the comics,
okay. Right? He's an eternal, and he's also he's both. So they actually had a reason to intervene. Like they didn't need to show up in Phase 1, but they should have shown up when Thanos is attacking Earth. They should have absolutely shown up. And I think in the Guardians
the way
of the
they talk. I don't know, the way they talk about it even in the previews of the, so this is, I don't think that we're going to spoil anything here, but even in the previews, they mentioned the fact that something has happened, a catalyst has occurred that's basically, allowed these deviants to show up or whatever the case may be.
So,
right? Something changed and now we have this. So, I mean, they explain that, I think, in the movie. I just, this movie maybe that's the thing, Jason. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's the characters are too big themselves. So there's a difficulty connecting with them because of how big they are. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it that way, but it's a possibility.
And they realized they were going to have trouble with that. And I think that's why a lot of the trailers would show we didn't help when Thanos was here. Mm-hmm. The catalyst for the individuals were the fact that when they brought everybody back, as if the first snap wasn't enough to happen, was when everybody came back. That's what set off this next wave of deviants. My problem with both of those lies in the first 10 minutes of this movie, which is all I was able to watch. And I've tried on 3 separate occasions to get past this.
Well, are you starting from the same spot every time, or should you just get to the 10-minute point and go, all right, I'll come back and do this later,
right?
And then start from that 10-minute point, so that way you're making your way through it in little jumps, little tiny jumps.
I cannot get past this premise of we're not going to do X in the trailers, and I know for a fact in the movie what they show is, or what they say is, we love the human race so much, there's nothing we wouldn't do for them. And in the first 10 minutes, it's look at all we're doing. We're going to stop these because these deviants are doing. We're going to help. We're not going to interfere, but we're going to interfere. Then what was your point? What's your point for not being in that final in-game battle? And
so hold on. Here's the problem: you haven't finished the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Matter. And you're right, but it also doesn't kind of matter because it already starts off with a really bad taste of why they didn't help. And it doesn't really matter at that point. Like if the Earth was going to be destroyed, why not do something? So that the thing was going to be them getting up and going.
So you have to finish the movie to understand that part of it.
Yeah, because they actually do sort of explain it. I think it's a bad explanation, but they do.
Honestly, it's a piss poor explanation in my opinion. But yeah, they do explain it, Ray. Though I mean, it is there, so you can watch it and
Well,
see.
no, I can't.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I know. I have
tried.
faith in you. I have faith
I've
in
tried.
you. I know you will succeed. You will survive.
There is no try. There's only do, Ray.
I
Do or do
am not in a rush to.
You don't have to be.
To watch.
You don't have
to watch it.
Don't worry. This movie will be around eternally. So
yeah. Nice.
I will say one of the best reviews I'd heard, which they meant it as a compliment. I don't. Which is
they meant it as a compliment.
They meant it as a compliment. They said this feels like really their attempt at a DC movie to bring the seriousness and everything else. And I was like,
think it was that serious.
I was like, I don't think that's what you want to go on. And
but I will say this though, I did like the characters individually.
Yeah.
The actors and playing the characters, I think they did a good job. I would have been happy just seeing one or two of these characters. And you know what, Jason? Maybe that's what they should have done. Maybe they should have introduced one or two of these Eternals and then had them go on whatever adventure they were going on. And at the end of the first one, at the end of this Eternals #1, that's when they reveal to somebody and say, well, actually, I'm an Eternal. And you go, huh? And then they say, yeah, there's more of us, and we're going to have to go out and find these people to collectively fight this battle. Maybe that should have been what they did to introduce them, because then they could have made two. They could have made 3 movies out of this if they did that.
Oh, they could have made 3 movies out of this story alone.
So pepper in throughout the entirety of the first phases 1 through 3.
Yeah.
Do them like the Hulk.
Do them like exactly. Just put them in there every once in a while. You get these characters. They're not a main character by themselves at any point. They're just a peppered in standalone with
they show up to help out. Yeah. They show up to help out, and then
eventually you do one movie with all of them. That's what they could have done with this. And I think that would have improved it greatly. So yeah, Jason, to your point, I think that has merit.
Yeah. I think
so that's our hot take 8 months later.
That's our hot take. Yeah. 3.5 years after the movie. Well, again, Jonah Hex came out in 2009, so yeah, we're over a decade late on that one.
Well, we knew that one. We knew that one sucked when it came out.
No one was late. No one was late on Jonah Hex. We all knew what Jonah Hex was. I mean, I do.
There were a lot of good actors in Jonah Hex too. I was like,
well, there was Thanos.
You have
himself,
Thanos and Cable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Michael Fassbender was in it.
So you got Magneto.
Yes, he was. Yep, he was. Yep.
You have one of the CGI creatures from Transformers.
Yeah.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox. Yeah. Also from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we had the guy who was in who likes sandwiches.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. So basically, listen, everybody, if you're thinking about watching, watching Eternals
in the punchy movies with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. So Peacemaker, and I'm thinking probably with some spoilers, but only 1 through, let's say, 3. Right? We'll give everyone who hasn't seen Thursday's episode.
You're going to leave Thursdays out. Okay.
I'm going to leave Thursdays out.
Okay.
So from the sounds of it, Sean and of course Bruce there in comments, not a fan.
We'll let you shill. Let's let you shill for them and piss off Genesis, and then the rest of us that have real opinions can talk about it.
I don't think we'll piss off Genesis. I think Genesis will probably agree with 2 out of 3 of us.
All right, go ahead, Ray.
Yo, you want me to start? Look,
yeah, dude, start.
You're absolutely right. It is stupid. It is cheesy. It's bad. I love it. This is exactly the wrong thing to do. Where Cobra Kai gets it right on the amount of cheese that they give you. Mm-hmm. This absolutely goes overboard, and for some reason, I love it. I don't know why. I think it's stupid, but I love it.
Okay, so it's not. You're not just saying that it's stupid, because something can be stupid and still good. Mm-hmm. You're actively saying that you like it because it's bad.
This you know what this is? This is Toxic Avenger. the old Trauma Studios Toxic Avenger, which is about to get a reboot itself.
It is.
This is what this is. There's no reason for me to really like the show, and somehow I
There's
find myself loving every minute of it, and I don't know
this
why.
is this is exactly so Peacemaker is exactly what a I mean, I don't know. I guess I could say maybe this isn't the best statement in the world because The Rock has gone on to do many other things. But I do think that this is a perfect role for a wrestler, a professional wrestler who's,
Mhm.
like WWE and who's like, doing the wrestling as a drama
Yeah.
performance, not wrestling as in I'm competing in jujitsu or whatever, right? Or even Greco-Roman wrestling in
Right. A
Olympics or
real
whatever.
sport.
So, yeah, like, well, again, wrestling is still like even WWE, like that's tough. It's not easy to do that.
It's
crap.
very
So
physically active.
it's
No,
very
absolutely.
physical, and they hurt themselves all the time.
Oh, of course. I'm not saying it isn't an act, but it's a drama. It is a scripted
it's a great,
thing.
yeah. It's a drama. It's a scripted thing, and it's meant to be. It's a soap opera, right? It's soap opera for men, basically. And I guess some women nowadays too. I mean, I'd say nowadays. It sounds so old. Anyways, chicks have been into wrestling forever as well. So
Did you just say chicks?
yeah, chicks. I
need to
didn't say
update your
skirts like my dad always did, though.
skirts.
And he would say it to even his daughters. I mean, like my sisters. He'd be like, "Oh, you skirts," and I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing?" But hey, grew up in the '50s, so what can I say?
Let's
I'm
bring that back.
actually
bring it
marking
back,
the time from when you're going to
Yeah,
start getting canceled, Sean.
from when I'm
just letting you
going
know.
to start getting canceled. That was
Yeah.
my dad, man.
Yeah.
That was my dad. So, but no, I think John Cena does a great job as Peacemaker. I really do. I think he plays the character perfectly. He's got enough drama in there, which is, but enough like real acting as well. It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's interesting because, like, yes, it's really cheesy to what Ray was saying earlier, and sometimes it's hard to like it because it's so cheesy,
Mhm.
but also sometimes it's just really stupid funny because it is so cheesy and so wrong and ridiculous, and it makes you laugh. Um, I think that's something that James Gunn does really well. You know what I mean? Like again,
Mhm.
James, because this is James Gunn's baby.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah. Which makes sense because he's a student, or I shouldn't say student, but definitely a fan of Trauma in that studio.
exactly.
So
And I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
he
is.
took the unknown characters, not unknown, but the lesser known characters of Guardians, and we've all said this when we saw the preview for Guardians and we heard Guardians was coming out. We were all like, okay, what the hell is this crap,
yeah.
right? We all were like,
I was
super
excited for it
skeptic.
again.
You were
I was
excited for it. No, I understand that. But
Jason was
we were
pumped for
all,
it.
but we
Yeah,
were all
like,
still was kind of like, I don't know, this could be really crazy. And then when it came out, it was just like it changed. I honestly feel like that was one of those points in
Mhm.
the timeline of their movies when
Oh, it absolutely did.
it got so much attention that
Mhm.
it made those movies even more popular than they already were. You know what I mean? It made the Marvel franchise
Mhm.
even more popular than it already was. But
Well, yeah, like every
I
Marvel
I
movie
don't
after
see
then
that
has
happening.
retro music and
Yeah,
retro. I mean,
it
you can
changes
look.
everything.
Everything
Hmm.
changed after that.
Yeah,
Absolutely, completely agree.
it was definitely a pivot point of where everything flipped. But I don't see that happening with.
It's funny
I
that you say.
still I still think it's funny, and it is enjoyable to watch from time to time. And I also think it's kind of funny that some episodes are like an hour long, and some episodes are only 30 minutes long.
Yep.
One episode's like 45 minutes. There's no
There,
real rhyme or reason to it. I don't know. It's goofy to me.
and the
Mhm.
the opening number,
The intro,
the
The
intro
intro.
alone, I mean, I love it.
is
And
is the dance called the Donkey Kong? Because that's basically what he's doing when he starts out,
well,
right?
and here's the funny thing is that they've already said, and James Gunn has said, they're like, we know that you have the ability to skip the intro. They're like, but watch the intro. The
And you
intro
should.
changes. The intro will change throughout the entirety of the show to mimic what's going on. And
Nice.
it's James Gunn, so I have to have a feeling that at one point we're going to get real serious melodrama that comes through, and we're going to have an episode that we're all going to talk about. It's going to be like, okay, this one completely did go different from what we've seen prior, because that is
Probably.
it's his MO, right?
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, I'm just enjoying it right now. Like it's so stupid. It is, and it's not. So we get Guardians, and it's fantastic.
Mhm.
1 and 2, at least how I'm feeling
Yeah.
about it. And then you get Suicide Squad from James Gunn. It's also much better, than what's
I
come before.
really
And
love the
it's
homages to
yeah,
Will Eisner's
yeah,
title card, or
to everything pretty much.
Yeah,
But
the title cards. Yeah, those
we
were
get
good.
we get Peacemaker, and once again, it's something totally different from what he's done prior with
Mhm.
comic book characters. He took the absurdity that we all loved in Suicide Squad
Hmm.
and took it even further,
Yeah,
and that was,
his pet
it,
eagle, man.
Okay, so
The
there's
okay,
no reason to love that eagle. There's
there's
zero
no
that
there's
zero
no
eagle is the
reason for
best
that eagle.
character in the show. So again, I
The
hate the
eagle is
show, but
great.
The eagle's
Yeah.
I want to.
hysterical.
So here's the thing. I hate the
I
show.
swear
But
to
let me.
God,
But
he hugged me.
yeah,
Like,
that
exactly.
was and there are really genuine good things in here in Peacemaker, but it is a complete. It's just a giant shit show, man, and but I think it's supposed to be, which
Right.
is
No,
you
it
either
is
love
what
it or
it's.
you.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you love it or you hate it. I think that's the wrong statement. I think there's people in between. It's like
Hate is a strong word. That okay. Let me rephrase this. Hate is a strong word. I walked away from the first 3 episodes with ambivalence, but I want to talk about the things that we agree, and then we'll talk about why I'm ambivalent. But I want to agree with on the thing, because here's the deal.
guess
It
what today's
has a
word of the
great
day is,
soundtrack.
Sean?
ambivalence.
Ambivalence.
Ah! Pee Wee's Playhouse throwback.
I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is the best thing about, outside of Eagle, is the best thing about this show.
Well, it's
Straight
80s
up.
hair metal, man.
It is. It's.
I could not believe I saw. Wait, what was he had Cinderella, but he held up another one. I was like, I can't believe they're playing that.
Oh,
Yeah.
from the apartment in episode 1.
So I think that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of them. Anyways, yeah, the soundtrack of this it's because it's not just like Poison or Motley Crue or anything like that. It's not the top 100 hits of hair metal.
No.
It's, or if it
No.
was,
These are
like
some.
more. These are deep cuts. These are like the one-offs. Yeah. And I thought that was it was really it's really funny.
No,
and I
absolutely.
don't even know.
Yeah.
What town are you in, by the way, where you find a female still with the 80s haircut?
Oh,
down to the big,
Yeah.
permed out hairstyle. I like,
Mhm.
again,
Mhm.
there's no reason.
There's no rhyme or reason
This goes closer to James Gunn's work on Slither than anything else that we've seen.
I haven't see, that's a movie I've never
haven't
seen.
seen it, yeah.
I've never seen Slither before.
It reminds me very much of that. A lot more humor in this, but still it's that same thing where it's like, what are you doing?
When he ties the couple up in the apartment as he's trying to escape, and she's all into it, and the husband's like, "Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me right now? Are you
trying to get him? Are you trying to get him to F you? And she's screaming at him because they're in a bad marriage. It's little things like that he peppers in there that I find enjoyable, because it is funny. You know what I mean? There are those tiny things that sometimes are funny because it is, once again, it's relatable. It's not like the stupid does anybody have any tape joke from frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which was forced
that joke.
which was forced and out of place and stupid for all the wrong reasons. It would have been funnier if they'd used it. It's got to be organic, man. If it's not organic and it feels forced, it's not funny.
You don't like GMO jokes, is what I'm hearing.
GMO? Oh, God. All right, Dad.
I got 3 kids. I got every right to
I prefer non-GMO jokes. It's got to be organic.
No.
I was really, really very shocked when what is the actor's name? Damn it. When the T-1000 went to prison.
Robert Patrick. When he went to prison, and that shocked the shit out of me. Because they kept all they did was hint at it. They hint at it.
Well,
very slightly.
They didn't hint at anything. They just straight up.
They just said he was. They said he was this.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
But
then
you're
they hint
you're
that
thinking
you're
just a
not.
little
Yeah.
bit because it's that age
Yeah.
group and everything else.
Right.
Gets to prison and there, yeah, I was like, oh my god.
And you're like,
Yeah,
whoa.
she's like, well, you know who his dad is. I'm like, hold on. Like as soon as they said that, I'm like, who are they? Because here's the deal. In the comics, Peacemaker's father, in fact, he's again later in the comics, he's haunted by his father. He was a Nazi. Like,
So that's why
yeah.
they okay.
Well,
See,
they're
I didn't
leaning
know any. I mean,
they're leaning
Uh-huh.
heavily close into that for
They're
sure.
getting
Oh
real
yeah,
close to
with the
that.
white dragon. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to, and again, talking about obscure characters, I had to look
You had to
him
look
up.
it up.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, who the
Yeah.
hell is the white dragon? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, like
Okay, I see
there
where they're going with this.
there
Yeah.
is some deeply disturbing material that they're using in this.
It takes
if you
full,
yeah,
full advantage of the HBO Max label for sure.
It absolutely does. It
Just in
absolutely
episode 1
does.
alone.
Oh, absolutely, it does. Yeah.
With his little helmets and the sonic blast. Holy
Yeah.
shit, that was funny.
But
Well,
also
okay.
Mid-air and just boom.
Just well, okay. So hold on. Ray actually had a point, and I want to start with the agreements before I go into why I dislike the show.
Where is she? She's Gumbo in the parking lot. Get me out of here.
Is
Is
Ray's
this pizza?
point? Yeah, I think that's a face.
You're holding up a face.
Put it down.
Yeah.
It's a face.
This show hits on many of the same points that Boys does, and yet doesn't feel as dark as the Boys. Like
it still has the dark material. You're right, but it's much more lighthearted about it.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's what I was telling Jason.
It doesn't revel in it. Like the Boys is like, look at how gross and terrible this is. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it. And Peacemaker's like, okay, this terrible thing happened. Hey, look, there's an eagle.
Yeah. But to that point, I think that's how, for me anyway, it's one of those reasons why I have to stop watching, or eventually stopped watching Walking Dead, besides the fact it started to go off the rails. Or even eventually, I don't think I can do a full 5 seasons of The Boys with that mentality. Like this, I could do a couple of seasons of, because it's taking that darkness and it's saying, look how absurd this is. And then we're going to point out how absurd it is. And then we're going to make fun of us making fun of the absurdity of what just happened. And it really goes through that step. So it's bearable. It's very much very bearable.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And they poking fun at themselves while they're poking fun at themselves. It's Jason's favorite thing in the world, which is why I'm surprised you don't like it, because it is so meta.
I knew exactly when I saw the first episode, when I sent that text to you guys about watching Peacemaker. I was like, Jason's not gonna like this at all, because I know his type of humor, and I was like, he's gonna hate this show.
There are parts in it where I go, this is stupid. I don't like, this is really dumb, and it makes me go, can we move on from this? But then there's other parts in it that are really funny. So it's a very interesting. I don't know. It's a very interesting show for that reason, I find.
And what they've done with Vigilante, I love it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's
a fanboy.
He's the worst sidekick ever. Like I love that spin on it.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna be able to walk again. Like seriously, really. It's just so stupid.
We've hit
so stupid.
Okay, so here's where it loses me. So again, let me go back with I'm with you. It is their scenes are just unbelievably funny. It's like for me, like why I don't watch Family Guy. Family Guy.
Really quick, you look like that commercial for the phones, where like you're just.
It's fine, dude. Just let them go. It's easier that it's just yeah. Jason, your connection's a little wonky. We can still hear you just fine, so keep going.
Yeah, it's like the reason I don't like Family Guy. Family Guy has one great joke per episode, but then you got to sit through the other 20 minutes to get to that joke.
That's not
Peacemaker has one or two really unbelievably funny jokes that make you absolutely laugh, and even a few great scenes. The problem is the rest of it. And this actually does sort of tie into the original point I made about sometimes it needs to be about your world. Mm-hmm. I don't need the Peacemaker to be about saving the world, right?
Well, we don't even know what it's about right now.
Oh,
that's still the best part. Like
3 makes it very clear. The end of episode 3 makes it very clear.
No. What I'm saying is like, okay, maybe if you're a comic book fan, you know what's going on, but if you're not a comic book fan, you still don't know what's up. So for me,
no, it absolutely. You don't even have to be a comic book fan.
Yeah, it does explain it kind of out in episode 3 that it is a world issue.
Yeah,
it may not be it may not be as big of a world issue as say Dark Side, right? But it is definitely a world given problem.
I guess I just don't. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't know. I get what you're saying though. Yeah. I know what you mean by because there's the big map and everything, but also it's kind of like the thing about that. The thing about it is you don't even really still know what that threat is. And that's what I mean by it's not necessarily, in my opinion. Or is it?
Or is it even really a threat? Because all we know.
All we know is what Amanda Waller has tasked this team with doing, and we already know that Amanda Waller is a psychopath. She's probably the biggest villain.
And by the way, kudos for bringing her back for the show.
Again, absolutely. Yes.
I was really impressed by that.
And the actress that plays her daughter, love her. She's doing a great job on this with this character. She was originally, or I don't know originally, but I know that the first time I saw her was when my wife was watching Orange is the New Black on Netflix, because she had a prominent role in that for a couple of seasons, I think. But great actress. I like her a lot. She's very funny. She's doing a great job. It's weird, man. It's a weird series, dude. It's good and it's bad all at the same time. But it's so strange.
This is why I'm completely ambivalent about the whole thing. Thank you, Cherry. Toilety is the unsung hero of that whole series.
Jason, get to the point.
We haven't made a point in 3 years, Ray.
Oh my God. Speak for yourself.
Jason, I think your problem is again, this is not your humor. This is not you're from your music, except for your comic book taste, not comic book movies, but your actual graphic novel taste. Your music, your movies, and your TV shows have to fit a profile for you. And if it goes out of that profile, as with everybody, might I add.
Yeah,
right? Like there's nothing wrong with it.
Taste, Ray. We all have different tastes.
Don't shame other people's taste just because they don't match your own.
No, I didn't say no. I said we all have different tastes. I said
no, that's not what you said.
That's what I said. I said we all have. I said yeah, you're talking about taste. We all have different tastes, and that's fine.
And then you started off on saying you don't have good taste. No,
I didn't. I didn't know. Ray, you said that. I didn't say anything of the matter. John's Switzerland right now.
The bottom line is this. I knew you were not going to like this one because at the end of the day, hold on, shut up. At the end of the day, this is not.
Can I actually make a fucking point today?
No,
Ray?
Shut up. At the end of the day, this is not what you like. It's not what you like. This.
So here's my point. You have.
You can play that game, Jason. Oh look, he's not even looking.
Seriously. Wow.
And so, so the problem is you have these characters. I wouldn't do this with you because you don't have the access.
I know that. I'm aware.
They made them cosplayers. These aren't vigilantes or superheroes. They're cosplayers, and I can't take it seriously.
Everything that we watch with comic movies is an official cosplay.
But hold on. So, but by that rationale, then the Book of Boba Fett's a piece of trash also. Because I'll be upfront and honest with you and everybody here.
That's a weird segue, but okay.
The Star Wars stuff. Well, let's listen. I think we've touched all we need to touch with Peacemaker right now.
I'm sure that's what Peacemaker would say as well.
Sure, that's what Peacemaker would say as well. But listen, the Star Wars stuff that's coming out, even the Mandalorian. I mean, maybe not so much the Mandalorian, but definitely the Book of Boba Fett. The costumes are a little cosplay-ish. They're not the quality you see in these over-the-top, over-budget movies and blockbusters. And I think that's how Peacemaker is being done. And I definitely think that's how Boba Fett is being done.
But I think the difference being is that Peacemaker is intentionally doing that.
Well,
because they know it.
Yes. No,
whereas
I understand
Boba Fett
that.
is not.
So hold on. My comment isn't about the quality of the costumes. That's not what it's about. What I'm saying is.
So then when you say they're cosplayers, what are you talking about?
Let's go to one very specific scene. Okay.
Okay.
And I think that this is great about the whole thing. When
Uh-huh.
when they're going to do the thing with the senator and they're loading up the truck, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
Vigilante is hiding behind the dumpster.
Yes.
So you're mad about the fact that they called out the meta part of it,
Well, no,
and
the
actually
whole
calling it out the fact that he's just a cosplayer?
well, no, that's the whole point. Is that all of these, these aren't. Again, I can't take them seriously. Where it's like, why haven't the cops caught these people by now? They're
But
like,
you're taking
there's this
Eternal
vigilante
seriously.
running around, and it's like he's a cosplayer. Like
He didn't even
he's
hear
not
it.
even doing it.
He
How
did
can-
hear it. He chose to ignore you.
How can you take Eternal seriously then and not take this to the same face value?
Well,
I'm
no, but
sorry,
that's my
man.
point. Well, no. Hold on. I try to give every work the opportunity to tell me what kind of universe they're in. Right? It's like, okay, show me what you're trying to show me. Right?
The moment
Yeah.
that they mentioned Batmite in the show as a real thing, you knew it was absurd. You knew it was going to be absurd.
Listen, this is a spin-off. Okay, this is a series spin-off of an absurd movie.
Ratchet it
an
up like
absurd
10.
of an absurd premise. The idea that we would get these, supervillains and they would use them to go take care of Black Ops. Now, I mean, you could go super serious with it, but it would still be kind of, not very good because again, you have no empathy for the characters.
Completely.
But
I completely agree.
but they
You can be
right,
absurd
but they
and
take
serious at the same time.
no, but they took this and they went absurd with it so that they could, because that was the only way they could pull it off, right? Is to make it interesting by making it a comedy and also a little serious. It's not as far blown a comedy as say Starsky and Hutch was when they remade it. When they didn't do that. You know what I mean? They didn't just try to make it a quirky, funny comedy. They were like, no, let's try to make an action movie, but also show how crazy and messed up all these people are and make jokes about it, and it'll be fun. And then they took that, and now they're going down this route of Peacemaker, which is the same sort of situation. And Ray's right. It is supposed to be stupid. It knows it's cheap. It knows it's cheesy. It's making fun of itself for that.
Right.
If you're
And
trying
I
to,
actually
if you're
appreciate
trying
those
to,
jokes.
Let him finish.
but if you're trying to take it seriously, then that's where the problem is. It's not the show. The show isn't the problem, right? The idea that you're trying to take it seriously is the problem. If you're watching it and you see that scene in particular and you're going, and the thought, you see Vigilante hiding behind the dumpster and they're like, are you really hiding behind the dumpster? Or even the one where he's hiding in the bushes and they're like, Vigilante's here. And they're like, dude, you're going to cock this up. You have to come stay now. If you're watching those scenes and the thought that goes through your head is, how haven't the police caught these guys yet? Then you're not paying attention to the show. You're not in the right mindset to watch
Jason,
this show.
you need to get in your mindset is this is 20 years ago, and we are going to look at each other and say, we want to watch something stupid, pointless, and this doesn't make any sense. Oh, let's go see the new Universal Soldier movie. That's what this show is. That is what this show is.
Okay, no,
it lets you know from the beginning.
But it's again, I'm okay with absurdist humor, but there's a level of absurdity that has to make sense. That still has to make internal sense. Like, how is this vigilante supposed? These guys are supposed to be they're supposed to be dangerous. They're supposed to be these things, and then okay, hold on. Let's tie this into another problem I have with DC, just to make.
But wait, hold on. You
happen.
haven't even finished your point.
Finish
yet.
the point.
Hold on.
Finish
The
the
point.
thought.
The point. No, I'm coming back to this point. Hold on. To make Genesis happy.
God, let me get the map out. You're going Route 66. Okay. Go ahead.
It'd be easier if I wasn't interrupted every 30 seconds by.
It's not every 30 seconds. You're talking for 15 minutes, and then
I haven't finished the sentence, and you bring up some other shit. Okay, so just to Genesis's point, I hate Titans, and I'm done with basically the CW except for Superman because all of their characters are incompetent. I mean, incompetence to the level that they are aiding and abetting the bad guys, right?
Did Genesis pay you today?
No.
Is that what this is? Because I can say the same thing for Marvel. Their biggest villain in the entire MCU, phase 1 through 3, Tony Stark.
Yes, and everyone has been. I'm glad you've seen me because that makes. But it's like Titans has an episode where they stop people from a carjacking and they have a
Hey, spoilers! I'm not done with Titans.
What's a really good show though? Doom Patrol. Because it's just as bad as Peacemaker is. It makes fun of itself. They're
is
all
absurd.
absurd. They're completely wrong.
That one actually makes sense. That one makes more. Hold on. So let me say, I think Doom Patrol does Peacemaker better than Peacemaker.
What did you smoke this morning, man? Are you sharing?
No, you've done too many drugs in your life. No, so here's the thing: Doom Patrol, I think, actually does this better than Peacemaker.
Sean, I am curious about one thing. Sean, are you having problems with Boba Fett? I am going to move this along because we could.
Which is fine. I haven't seen it. I don't care.
No problems with Boba Fett whatsoever.
You were talking just about. So interesting note about your cosplay theory is that both with the Mandalorian, as Sean coughs to death, both with the Mandalorian and Boba Fett, twice they've gone out to the 501st Legion, which is the official cosplayer thing for Star Wars, and have asked them to come and be on the shows because they needed more extras.
That's funny. That's
so
awesome.
that could be what you're seeing. But to be fair, that group does have a very specific set of guidelines to get as close to the movies as possible.
Yeah. No, what I'm noticing when Jason, when you were saying cosplay, it made me it pinged in my brain that I've taken you literally, right? And I thought you meant, that from a costume standpoint, the whole thing looks cheap, right?
Right.
Because it does. I mean, it absolutely does. Peacemaker's uniform looks like somebody.
Okay, that's like something I love about the show.
Well, okay, good. No, but I'm
costumes,
fine. I'm fine with that, right? It's practical. It looks like somebody can listen. There's going to be a ton of people who are going to cosplay Peacemaker now, and Vigilante for that matter. Somebody out there is going to do it because it's a super easy one to do. There you go. Yeah. So it's a super easy one to do because you just, you get a red shirt, you get some, malleable foam, you get your little Dremel tools out, you do the whole thing, hot glue, and boom, you're ready to go. It's super easy to do. Anyways, with Book of Boba Fett, it's kind of the same situation. I noticed that their costumes are just, it's low key, but it's low key in the way that Star Wars, the original ones, always were. Thank you again for that, by the way, Ray, for the OG Star Wars. I'll leave it at that. We're not going to talk about it on camera. But when you go back to that Star Wars from the 70s and the early 80s, and you see the costumes, and they're physical, and you see it's something somebody can build, something someone can make. You know what I mean? It's not all digital. It's not Hela from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
It's something that's practical and you can make it yourself. And that's what I'm seeing on Boba Fett as well. I mean, the Banthas are, and this is what we loved about the original Star Wars was, again, it felt practical, it felt real. And that's what we're seeing here. The Bantha that he rides is legit he's riding a Bantha. It's animatronic. There's animatronic creatures everywhere in the story, and people really dressed up, really wearing makeup and masks to make them look like they're, like they're actual aliens. So I love that. And I think that's something that they're nailing very well with that series, is the reality of it. It makes you feel like it's really that Star Wars from 77 or just right around early 80s,
So here's the thing, and they talked about this multiple times. If Mandalorian was supposed to be a space western, Lone Wolf and Cub style, if you will.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett was supposed to be more akin to that of gangster or underworld. Like they even trailered it that way. This is
it's Star Wars. Yeah.
They're not doing a good job of that. It's not that. To me, this looks a lot more. And I think someone said it. I can't even remember who said it, but Dances with Wolves. That's what this feels like, especially from. It was Mark Bernardin or whatever from the Kevin Smith podcast. But he goes, it's Dances with Wolves in space, and I'm like, and to Jason's point,
I see where he's going with that.
Yeah, to Jason's point, this should have been more like either space, Scarface, or something to that effect. It should have almost acted a little bit more like Heat or any of those other criminal dramas that you love watching. And so far, it's not that.
It's definitely not. You're right. It's not that. If their goal was to make like a rival gangs, mob bossy kind of feel, where it is still anti-hero,
Space Father.
this does not have the Space Father. Book of Boba Fett does not have those vibes for me. I see it more as a he's too heroic.
Mm-hmm.
He's being way too heroic. It makes sense in its own way, like if that's the way you want to use the character. But if they're taking Boba, but they're not doing that with Boba. Like they're not leaning into Boba's dark side. They're straight up making him a hero.
Which is weird because that's how they introduced him. When he came back in Mandalorian, that was not a person you wanted to jack with. I mean, he took down troopers. And not that he didn't have help, but he was taking out a lot of them himself. You know, and so
before he got his armor,
before
the armor,
it's shifted in the show. And it's not bad. Like, so let me just say this: I'm loving Boba Fett right now, but if it's what they were intending is definitely not what we're seeing, and it's not bad for it. And knowing Filoni, knowing Favreau, you know that there's going to be a change. Knowing Rodriguez, there's going to be a shift. Like that.
There will be one.
It is a slow buildup, but we don't see that, and it's certainly again, this isn't the Fett that we got introduced to in the Mandalorian. I don't feel he's been taken down a couple of times now, and it wasn't hard either. You know, Phoenix giving him more of a fight than he has.
They do say at this point, though, that like, especially again, I feel like everybody has an opportunity to watch these, so I don't think we need to worry too much about spoilers. But in the show, you know, you do see him in the bacta tank going through a healing process. So quite possibly we're going to see him back to, you know, full Boba Fett, as you will. Now that he's kind of like gone through that whole process. I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, you're right. If this is the first I've heard that their intention was to make it like a rival gangs sort of, you know, gangster style movie series. I didn't know that. And you're absolutely right. If that was their intention, they're failing. They're failing hard.
Again, I haven't seen it, but Ben Dunn was talking about it this morning on Facebook. He's like, it's like you said, it's failing at being Sopranos. He's like, this needed to be about Boba Fett going after Luke Skywalker, but it's just that it's failing at being a Sopranos.
No, I don't think this would have been that either. I wouldn't want to see him going after Luke Skywalker.
Well,
why?
To what I'm hearing,
to get revenge for being tossed into the Sarlacc pit. It was Luke. Actually, it wasn't even Luke. It was Han
Solo.
It was Han that did it.
Yeah. So I don't agree with that statement at all. But knowing I'm not sitting there, we're catching half a portion of the story. I'm sure
we're still a portion of the story. Yeah.
It was just how he would have done the story. But his point is the same as Jarl's, that it's trying to be Sopranos, but it seems to be failing. Like it's trying to be this thing, and it's not being what it was supposed to be.
The thing is, though, that like I didn't know that it was trying to be that, because it's not even evident to me in the show that that's what it's trying to be. So somebody saying that that's what it was trying to be makes it more apparent that it's failing at that. But had you never said that, I would have just said, okay, it's just a story of Boba Fett becoming. It's a redemption story, in my opinion. The way it's being played right now is Boba Fett's becoming a hero.
Very much so. But when you're it goes back to the pitch of they were trying to show.
And I didn't know that. Again,
the criminal underground, and it's
they're failing at that miserably.
But to that point though, on when I still haven't seen Boba Fett, but the end of the Mandalorian, when he goes in and just shoots Bib Fortuna in the face, I'm like, oh, so he's taking over the Hutt's, he's taking over is the Hutt business. Is like, I assume that's what this was supposed to be. The Sopranos in space.
But here's the thing, though, that is absolutely being touched on, and that's what I'm saying. I know there's a twist. There's a twist coming, but the first part of this series has not hit any of that. They've only hinted at it, so I'm thinking that we're going to see this in the back end. Which again, this is what Favreau and Filoni and crew do in Rodriguez. It's a slow burn. I know it's a slow burn, and I get that. But right now, it's not. It's very little of what they touched on about what they wanted it to be. So if the back half of this is, and at the end of episode 3, they do start that ominous feel. I haven't seen this week's episode for Wednesday, but again at the end of 3, they start with the whole. We're starting to see more of the underworld now, and we've only got like what 4 episodes left, 3 episodes left,
something like that. Yeah, it can't be very many. And I mean, for what they've done though, I did enjoy the first few episodes and exploring. You know what I mean? Exploring the people that he was with and everything, because that I think that's a grossly underused, or not underused, but it's definitely underexplored, underdeveloped portion of this universe. Do you know what I mean? So seeing him kind of get back to himself, if you will, like him start to heal and go through that whole process. Your dances with wolves, if you will.
God, I wish I could take credit for that, but that's such a good comparison.
It's a good comparison.
I was like, oh my
really
God, it is Dances with Wolves.
It really is. That is a very good comparison. But yeah, no, I still like it. You know what I mean? It's definitely not what I think the intention should be. If they're saying that, hey, we want it to be this gangster movie, it's not being that very well. But I still like it. You know. So.
But again, I'm into the story. Like I'm there. Jason, to your point, this is better than Peacemaker, but it's also a different story than what
it's a different thing from Peacemaker. Right? I get, and that's what I'm saying. It's a different thing. It's trying to be a different thing, which is fine. Again, we need different types of stories. I'm okay with that. I just think Doom Patrol does absurdity better than Peacemaker. Is all I'm saying.
And I agree.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I can't get into it.
But I agree because Doom Patrol does its absurdity in a different way. It does its absurdity in a more serious manner. Peacemaker's absurdity is tongue-in-cheek. The absurdity for Doom Patrol is more, it sounds odd, but it's more realistic absurdity, if you will. I don't know how to explain that any better than what I just said, but I mean,
no, I think you said it perfectly. It's okay. Well, it's more internally consistent. I think that's a good way of saying it. It's internally consistent with its absurdity.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give that. I'll give that. I just, with the characters in Peacemaker, the reason they are absurd is so that you don't ever really begin to take them seriously. Yeah. Because you can't. If you start to take any of it seriously, it will disappoint you. And that's why you should never, ever go into that thinking, why haven't the cops caught these guys yet? Because you will be disappointed.
And again, to your point, Jason, that's as soon as I saw it, I knew when I started laughing, I was like, oh man, Jason's going to hate this show. Like, I was like, this is not his.
Like I said, hate is a strong word. I'm just ambivalent. Like, I just don't care.
It's not your cup of tea. It's not your cup of tea. I got it. I understand.
Yeah, it's legitimately funny. The soundtrack's amazing. Eagly is the best character. I just don't care.
Eagly's not, man. Not by far. I mean, I understand what you're saying. He's absurd. The Eagles.
Watching the intro and seeing the dance, I mean, you already know what you're setting yourself up for by watching him come in and do the Donkey Kong. But the best part about that is Eagly flying in at the end and doing the 3 caws. Like, it goes just too long. Like you think, it's going to end now. Okay, it's going to end now. No, he caught again. Okay, now it's ended. All right.
Yeah.
Funny, not funny. Back to funny
again. Back to funny. Yeah, because the Eagle's like, am I done yet? Like, what the hell?
And and that is, and I get your comparison to Family Guy via that. Yeah. Like, it makes sense to me. But also, I think you're wrong. Family Guy has more than one funny joke in the entire episode. Some episodes they don't. Most episodes I feel like they do.
It's a Family Guy review for the year.
Yeah.
For the show. I was gonna say for the show. Why for the show?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's at an end. I'll say quick hits, right? Dang man, Louis Anderson's passed. Meatloaf passed just a couple of days ago, and
there's an actor who was like 37 who's
going to be in Moon Knight.
In Moon Knight, and he
I
just
cannot
passed
remember
away.
his name.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had an accident of some type, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Sucks. That's
so
awful.
I mean, certainly it's not fun, but
and wait, Bob Saget, didn't he pass before our last show?
Bob Saget passed, like right after the last show.
Right after the last show.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, man, 2022 already, right?
Did anybody ever say what, like, I don't think anybody said how Bob Saget passed or why
Still looking into it, other than the fact that they know he it sounds like, for all intents and purposes, passing asleep. Which, if you're gonna pass,
that's
right?
the best. I mean, that's the best way to go, really.
Um,
One of the best ways to go, honestly. So,
Spider-Man: No Way Home. Jeez, this movie's gonna end up racking up. They think about 775 million during a pandemic. That's the United States alone.
Yeah.
Probably about 1.5 billion worldwide or something, if it's not already crossed it.
That's crazy.
Enough for Sony to go, hey, Morbius, we want to let this have some more legs. We're gonna push you back just a little bit. Oh, you're pushing it back you're pushing it back because of the pandemic. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that's why we're doing
that's why.
No, we are certainly not reshooting scenes with Andrew Garfield.
With Andrew Garfield, right? Which I'd be okay with.
I would be completely fine with Andrew Garfield being a parallel Spider-Man in a different, like, perfect. You want to put him up against Tom Hardy's Venom? Do it. I'm fine with it.
He's earned it.
Well, yeah. Well, Sony's been trying to do the Sinister Six thing forever.
I know. Yeah.
That was the whole point behind the Amazing Spider-Man, was to try and create a Sinister. They wanted to do to start the Sinister Six film. So, I mean, if they can go back, it's like, now that we've got.
Well, so far they gave us the Ferocious Five, so I think that's something, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's good. The Batman, almost 3 hours long, and what they were saying was that originally, when they were doing the testing for it, they were doing a test cut of 4 hours. Don't necessarily know I need my Batman to be that lengthy, right?
That seems a bit much. That seems a bit much. I mean, not that, Snyder wasn't. It was definitely a bit much.
Well, they turned that into a series, so.
Which, if you needed to do that with the Batman, that probably not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea,
It's not like we hadn't been there before with movies having intermissions, because we did have 4-hour epics, and
yeah, we did. I mean, what, like, so I think did Gone with the Wind used to have? I think Gone with the Wind had an intermission.
With the Wind had
and
an intermission.
I know Sound of Music has an intermission in it.
Yeah.
And then there was another movie, The Great Race, which, by the way, phenomenal movie. That has an intermission in it as well.
I think Spartacus has an intermission as well.
Spartacus, Lawrence, did Lawrence of Arabia have one? I think Lawrence of Arabia had one.
It did have one.
I think it had one.
Did it?
Really good Family Guy joke on that one, by the way. Hey, it's in widescreen format. Just a little line.
Yeah. No, I'd be okay with them if you want to throw in an intermission, let me get up, use the bathroom. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Just don't make me sit through a 4-hour movie until and make me internally damage myself.
I like that. Yeah, that one.
That one.
Exactly.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it, dude.
But yeah, so I mean, it's not unheard of. It's again, if you're a 3-hour movie, don't make it feel like a 3-hour movie. That's all I'm asking.
Don't make it feel like that. Yeah.
And then I think Xbox buying Activision.
What?
Okay, Microsoft, Xbox bought Activision.
Oh, that's right.
Their entire library.
Right.
Did they buy Activision or did they buy Blizzard? I thought they bought Blizzard.
No, Blizzard's under the Activision.
Blizzard's under Activision, so they basically that was one of the things they were talking about, all the stuff that Xbox is now going to acquire the rights to as owners.
But Microsoft Xbox is doing a really good thing by saying, "Oh no, we're still going to play in everyone's sandbox," because PlayStation got a little bit. They're like, "I'm pretty sure Xbox is going to honor the agreements that we had set forth with Activision." And then Xbox goes, "Of course we are." Sony is a great, and I don't see them as competitors as much now as I see them as they're trying to make each other do better, and they're proud of when it does. I mean, all the way from Microsoft's CEO coming out and talking about how, the Sony PlayStation controller is better than theirs. So it was a little weird to see Sony get snippy, because it did come off snippy in that comment. But I understand where they're coming from.
Not weird at all to see it. It's Sony. I completely expect them to act that way, because that's just Sony. I wish they would stop doing crap like that and start being a little more willing to work with other people. But Sony has always had just like this. I don't know. It's almost like they have a chip on their shoulder.
I think
You
the PS5, the PlayStation division, I think they are like that. I think Sony as a corporate, I think
maybe
they're
that's
quick to jump on it.
Yeah, and maybe that's what I'm seeing more than anything else, because obviously my experience is with PlayStation mainly. That's where I'm seeing it from. So yeah, maybe not to misspeak, not to say that all of Sony is a dick, but for sure some of the folks doing the PlayStation stuff can be, well, they're dicks.
Yeah.
let's just call it what it is, man.
The thoughts and opinions of the
The thoughts and opinions expressed by
Sony
Sean
isn't
are
giving us money
does
to
not
do this
represent
show.
the Vagabond Nerds.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
No,
it does.
again,
Sony ain't paying for
again,
anything. If
we
Sony
agree.
wants better press, they can send us a check.
I'm still playing my PlayStation 4,
Some
and
PS5s.
I'm still waiting on that PS5. So yeah, man, it's not like I'm gonna stop buying their products just because they're dicks.
Just let me know if you need the hookup, Sean. I'll make that call if you want that PS5.
You let me know when you got one, and I'll take it from you, please. I'm happy to pay for it.
So someone had a picture of a PS1,
the real amount, not like a inflated amount.
Right, yeah.
Right
Maybe they had a PS2 box and a PS3 box taped together and said, I got a PS5.
I had a PS5.
Yeah. Well, that's how that works now.
As my wife sent me a picture of, those, you can get stupid candles with crap written on the front of them or whatever. And this one was, the scent was PS5, and underneath it says, "Smells like you're not getting one."
End it there, Jason.
All right.
Find us out, man.
All right. We're done for the day. Guys, go visit Jeremy over at Titan Comics. He's got what you're looking for. Again, TitanComics.com, phone number, address. Go visit him in person. Drop some physical dollar dues. If you'd like to get a hold of us, and God only knows why you'd want to,
and you'd be the first.
And you'd be the first. It's vagabondnerds@gmail.com. We'll be here in 2 weeks where we talk about, I don't know, some other bullshit about something.
Let's talk about more. Oh, that's right.
No, we can't. I'm certain Hollywood will come up with something new and original for us to talk about next week or next episode.
To everyone out there, stay safe, be kind to each other, and
that's right.
And see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, see everybody.
Bye.